opening speaker is. We're just waiting on Geert Wilders at the moment. Few logistical problems. How do we feel about Geert Wilders? Janice just said he radicalized me. All right, while we're waiting for Geert, I want to read you a statement from Louis Alliot. He is the number 2 to Marine Le Pen in the Front National. He wanted to be here today, but he couldn't, but he sent a message, which he's asked me to read out for you. He says, according to whether you are wretched or powerful, the court will judge you as wrong or right. These were the words of Jean de La Fontaine in The Animal Sick of the Plague. Unfortunately, centuries after this fable was written, I am forced to admit that its moral still holds true today. It holds true in our Western societies, societies we believed embraced principles of freedom, but every day we are reminded of the ugly truth. In France, writers are condemned for merely expressing their opinions. In fact, the French Parliament is currently assessing a new law against fake news, which in its very nature reveals a repressive attitude towards freedom. Societies that claim to be inclusive foster new taboos under the veil of multiculturalism. Certain topics are no longer to be addressed and thus become unspoken. Louis continues. Last month, Tommy Robinson was arrested and sentenced to 13 months in prison for having live-streamed the arrival at Leeds Crown Court of the protagonist in a case involving a Pakistani gang accused of having committed crimes of pedophilia. His incarceration is a dishonor to the grand liberal democracy that Britain represents, or perhaps that Great Britain used to represent. No country that is confident and assertive in upholding its values would imprison journalists. It took no more than 5 hours for Tommy to be incarcerated after his arrest. Louis continues, those who still believe in the freedom of opinion and expression should be appalled and outraged by this incident. Gangs committed repeated abuses in Telford and Rotherham and elsewhere, facing nothing but indifference for decades. Should the acts of rapists be kept silent? Should it be prohibited to believe that such violence stems from a misguided approach to integration and tolerance? In Rotherham, one of the investigators working on the case was required to take a class on cultural diversity after reporting the ethnicity of the rapist. They'll do anything to avoid shattering the lies that form the basis of their multiculturalist project. Finally, people like us who question conformity are essential to sustain Western civilization. It is our ability to think critically that has made us who we are today, or at least who we were. Perhaps one day our children will not even have the right to publicly defend the freedom of another Tommy Robinson. In the heart of London, while some men call for the enforcement of Sharia law and others openly endorse the Islamic State, our judges are busy convicting journalists who condemn these acts. It is time for this to come to an end. It is time for those who defend political correctness to stand up for a worthy cause. Once again, I want to thank Louis Alliot of the Front National, or now called the Rassemblement National, for sending us that. Please send your greatest love to Louis and Marine Le Pen. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the leader of the UK Independence Party. It's Gerard Batten!
Good afternoon, everybody. Tommy Robinson is a political prisoner. Now, whatever the legal technicalities of his alleged contempt of court, he was imprisoned more for who he is and what he says rather than what he is supposed to have done. It's